Hello everyone, Sharpeter43 once again bringing you all round 1 of the playoffs for the IBL D-League. This battle was supposed to go up on the last day of March, but unfortunately there was a lot of stuff going on that day that kept me really distracted, honestly. So unfortunately, I mean, right now it's like 11:30 right now, it's about to be 11:30. And we still are in March 31st obviously, but unfortunately by the time I'm done recording this video, it's going to be April Fool's Day, which really sucks because I'll have you all know April Fool's Day is not my favorite day of the month, honestly, given my nature. But either way, we're gonna try to get this battle out of the way as soon as possible because after this battle, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm gonna feel the same again, honestly, but whatever. So anyways, my opponent for this battle is gonna be PlatinumHowler and the Coquitlam Red Gyarados once again. We did beat this team in week 8 when we battled, and thankfully it was actually a convincing win, honestly. But now he's here to pretty much redeem himself, obviously. The fact that we have to battle him again is a scary idea because last week I actually relied on Sticky Webs from Galvantula to be able to handle the majority of his team with the exception of Latios, but this time around I don't have Galvantula, and I actually switched it up for Muck this time around. Alolan Muck, by the way. But yeah, because Alolan Muck is a dark type, which I need to handle that Latios and possibly even the Sylveon, honestly, because just in case I lose Nidoking, honestly, due to a Psychic from Latios, obviously. And I think I also packed it with some other stuff as well, just because yeah, like I packed the Alolan Muck with some coverage for Mega Gyarados as well, because the Mega Gyarados was obviously another threat as well, because that thing can also pack Earthquake. And because Gyarados and Latios can get Earthquake, I decided to give my Alolan Muck a Shucka Berry, because they're most of the time gonna want to definitely hit my Alolan Muck really hard with an Earthquake. Not to mention 3 of my mons here once again are weak to Earthquakes anyway, so it's definitely logical that I have at least one of these mons with a Shucka Berry. So yeah, but I'm hoping that the Muck is a very diverse set, and it's the biggest change that I made to this team, honestly, because other than the Muck, the majority of my team is still the same. And looking at PlatinumHowler's team, it's also seeming to be the same as well, with some potential changes in some movesets from some of his mons, and I have to be really be prepared for that. But I felt like with my team I didn't really need to change much. I just needed to change Galvantula because of how frail it was, and put in Muck because of how bulky it was. I felt like bulky offense was kind of what I needed to approach this team, basically, of PlatinumHowlers. So all we gotta do now is see if we can actually make it work. So here we go. So this is gonna be the battle. We're gonna go up against your boy PlatinumHowler. Okay, so I believe he leads off with the what's it called, the Gyarados. Yeah, okay. And I lead off with Jirachi, which is really good for me, because I actually was hoping for this lead, because I do have Thunder Wave on this Jirachi, and the plan was to go for Thunder Wave on this Gyarados. I was thinking he'd stay in, given that he got the Intimidate on my Jirachi, but he does switch out. I don't know if it's because he saw the Thunder Wave coming or because he was afraid I'd be a special variant with Thunderbolt, but he does switch out and goes into the Delmice now, which I do get the Thunder Wave off of. But unfortunately, a Thunder Wave on a Delmice is definitely useless, because I only wanted Thunder Wave just so that the Dragon Dance wouldn't be enough to outspeed all of my mons. So, but since he switched in this slow ass mon, then it really doesn't matter, honestly, if I get Thunder Wave off. So I decided to go for a U-turn here and going straight into Muck, predicting a possible Shadow Claw. And unfortunately I don't get to see what he goes for, because he actually does get paralyzed right there. I don't know how much it matters, but just know that there's a lot of yellow magic going around right now. So here he's gonna switch into this Skarmory. I go for Poison Jab because I think I was expecting, I don't know what I was predicting, honestly, because I felt like Knockoff could have been the better play here, honestly. But oh well, I went for Poison Jab and he does get the Rocks up. I went for Taunt here because I thought I could outspeed this Skarmory, because I did put some speed on this Muck, enough to speed creep a non-speed invested Skarmory, but apparently this thing has some speed investment, enough to outspeed my Muck still, which is actually kind of crazy, because this goes to show you how hard this guy's prepping for me, honestly. But yeah, I went for Thunder Punch afterwards here and got the paralysis, and he actually got the full para here as well, which is actually kind of like crazy, because honestly I wasn't expecting that, honestly. So now I'm going to decide to switch in the Tapu Fini, because I want to get rid of these Toxic Spikes. Here he gets paralyzed yet again, and I'm like, Okay. Why? Like holy cranberries. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do here now is just go for the fog, obviously, because I don't want these rocks up, knowing that Gyarados is still not paralyzed, because if that happens, then we're gonna have issues, obviously. I need that Gyarados either paralyzed or weakened enough so that my Tapu Fini can take it out, obviously. I think here I went for, I think, Taunt, I don't even remember. Oh no, I went for Defog, he predicted it. He sent in Delmise, I switch out because I don't want to take anything from this Delmise. I go into Jirachi, and I this was more so predicting the potential Power Whip. I thought that the switch in the Muck would be more or less an obvious play. And on the off chance he goes for a, what's it called? I forgot what that, Anchor Shot I think it's what it's called. Jirachi resists that, and then from there I'd be forced to Iron Head Spam, but instead he actually doubles on me here and goes into Gyarados. And here was where I was thinking of Thunder Waving here, but I felt like it wasn't necessary, and if he doesn't get fully paralyzed, he can still possibly take out my Jirachi, so I didn't want that, so I decided to just U-turn right here and just go for, I believe Tapu Fini. Because if he goes straight for the Dragon Dance, I take no damage on this Tapu Fini, and I can still hit this thing with a Moonblast. He does thankfully just go for the Earthquake, which, as you can see the damage right here, it doesn't do much, honestly, as you can see right here. Yeah, it doesn't do much, so I was looking pretty good right here, actually. I think what I decided to do here, though, nonetheless, is go for Taunt, and the reason for this was because I didn't think he'd want to stay in, and I think I was predicting either the Skarmory or the Raikou or something. I don't remember, but I went for Taunt on one of these two months. I actually, you know what, I think it was the Sylveon, because the Sylveon can possibly Wish and then switch into Gyarados, restoring its HP or something. So I didn't want that, obviously. So yeah, I went for Taunt just to prevent anything from being Heal Bell or Wish Pass or something. Jeez, I can't talk. But either way, he gets paralyzed here. I think I sent in Muck here, and he got paralyzed trying to go for something on my Muck, but I didn't see what it was because he got paralyzed, obviously. So yeah, but now I just go for the knockoff. It's crazy how there was just a lot of yellow magic going on in this battle, though. It kind of confused me a little bit because I could never tell what his intentions were with whatever he got paralyzed, that being the Skarmory and the Delmise. But either way, here he now brings out the Gyarados, and he's actually going to go for the Dragon Dance, and I'm actually going to go for the Thunder Punch. I stayed in. I figured he'd go for Dragon Dance, but the reason I stayed in was because I did a calc to see if I can actually take it in Earthquake after +1, whether it's from an Adamant Gyarados or a Jolly Gyarados, and after a Shuca Berry, yeah, I can in fact take one, provided I don't get critted, which is why I stayed in. I was hoping I don't get critted for the love of peace, honestly. So honestly, here I went for Thunder Punch because yes, I do pack this on Alola Muck, because I figured that if the Latias is not going to be the threat here, then this Gyarados sure as heck will be. So I definitely went for Thunder Punch, and on the off chance I could get the Paralysis, that'd also be ideal. But yeah, so thankfully my Muck was actually able to take out the Mega Gyarados, so that's one hell of a crisis averted right there. But now I have to deal with this Latias, which is just about as big of a threat because of the coverage that this thing has. He does go for Earthquake here, and I did switch in Dragonite here, which was risky, but I really was thinking, would he have it? Would he have the Earthquake? And he does end up going for it, which is good for me because now I'm put in a very decent position, except not really, because I decided to go for the Dragon Dance instead of the Dragon Claw here. He went for Zen Headbutt. I thankfully didn't flinch, but instead of going for Dragon Claw straight up, I just went for the Dragon Dance. The reason why I did this was because I didn't consider the fact that Skarmory was still in his team. In fact, I for some reason thought of that Skarmory was gone already, but no, it wasn't. And as a result, I put myself in a bad position now. I go into Nidoking just to see if he can actually, if I can take a Brave Bird from this thing, or if he would try to get his rocks up or something. I can maybe try to get my rocks up as well. But he just goes for the Whirlwind and phases me into Tapu Fini, which is, at first I thought it was scary, but at the same time I felt like, you know, I could just taunt this thing, or I can just attack it right now, predicting that Raikou to come back in. I decided to just attack it, and I was hoping that the Surf would do enough to keep it weakened enough so that he won't recover too much with Roost. But thankfully this actually just straight up took it out, which was actually surprising to me, honestly. I didn't think it'd actually be able to take it out, given that this Tapu Fini is not fully invested in special attack. But it did take it out, which is really good for me. However, unfortunately for me, he does get a free switch into this Raikou, and let me tell you right now, this Raikou is a big threat right now, and you're gonna see it right now. I'm gonna switch out into Dragonite. If he goes for Hidden Power Ice, that I basically be sacking my Dragonite, but unfortunately for me, he ends up going for the Calm Mind, which is really bad for me, because If he has the right coverage moves, he can pretty much take out either the majority of my team or my entire team straight up completely. So I decided to just go for the extreme speed right here to go for just go for damage, obviously. And here he's gonna actually go for Thunderbolt and not Hidden Power Ice. Now this made me think that he either didn't have Hidden Power Ice or he was just trying to bluff or something. But either way, I tried to believe that he didn't have Hidden Power Ice, so I sent out Nidoking. And then he surprises me with this, and I was like, oh wow, really? I did not expect this. Like, I completely forgot that these Raikous do in fact carry extra sensory, but you know, I kind of really didn't think of it at the time. It was too obscure of a move that I didn't think he'd actually carry it, honestly, but he did. So yeah, what are you gonna do? But here I sent out Mega Gallade now because I needed a hope that I can take at least one Shadow Ball, or best case scenario, him not having it. Unfortunately, he does have it, and all I can do now is hope I can live this at +1. And thankfully, I do just barely. According to him, this was supposedly a 50-50 chance for me to survive. It was like a 56.3% chance to one-hit KO, which was actually kind of crazy because holy cranberries, dude. If I missed that, I just lost completely from there because nothing on my team would be able to take anything from this Raikou. This Calm Mind Raikou was a complete threat, and I didn't even realize it, man. I was underestimating that completely, bruh. Which is crazy, and I think my Muck could have very well have handled this thing if it didn't get weakened. So like, holy shit, I kind of made a mistake in letting my Muck get weakened there, but oh well. Either way, he sends out this Sylveon. I think I got a little behind, but yeah, he sends out Sylveon, takes out my Gallade because he was actually Scarf, which is like crazy. So this allows me to send in Jirachi for free, go for Thunder Wave for free, but unfortunately I missed. And this is bad and scary because if the goal here is for him to hope that I miss all my Thunder Waves because of all the paralysis that's happened, I could still lose this actually. But thankfully I don't miss the second Thunder Wave, and this allows me to just simply have this Latios slow enough for my Tapu Fini to outspeed it as well. I do have Muck in the back of my team here, so what I'm going to do here now is just go for the U-turn and just sack my Muck because I don't want Tapu Fini to take any damage due to a potential Energy Ball or even Earthquake, because if my Tapu Fini takes any level of damage, it might be in range for his Sylveon to actually clean up at the very end, depending on what move he actually locks himself into, because I see the potential of him locking himself in the Shadow Ball, which if he gets enough Spidefdrops to take out my Tapu Fini before my Jirachi comes out, he takes out my Jirachi as well, so yeah. So here I sent out Jirachi now, and I was actually debating for a while if I actually wanted to go for Iron Head spam or did I just want to go for the U-turn, and I decided to go for the U-turn right here instead because I decided to just see if I can take out this Latios, and thankfully I do. And now here I send out Tapu Fini, and this gives me the opportunity to see what move he locks himself into. If he's gonna lock himself into Shadow Ball or Hyper Voice. I feel like Shadow Ball would be scary because if he gets the Spidefdrops at the right time, he can potentially take out my Tapu Fini, and then if he crits my Jirachi with Shadow Ball, then I lose that as well, which would be really, really bad. So yeah, but I did do a calc to see if a modest Scarf Sylveon can take out my Jirachi with a Shadow Ball. It supposedly can, given the spread that I had on my Jirachi. Supposedly it can take it, so I think as long as I didn't get critted there, I was perfectly fine either way. But I honestly didn't want to risk it, honestly, because, you know, I don't want to get critted, obviously. There's always that chance that I can get critted, obviously. So here, I speed up the video a bit because now that I see that he locked himself into Hyper Voice, I at this point have no reason to switch out. Because if I switch out into Jirachi, it'll take some damage and then it'll outspeed me because it's Scarf. So I decided to just spam Moonblast and best case scenario lower this thing's special attack so that even after a crit, it doesn't take out my Jirachi with a Hyper Voice. So yeah. But with all that said, you're gonna actually, before anything, my Jirachi actually doesn't end up taking out this Sylveon. It actually ends up being Tapu Fini because of the -2 that I got from Moonblast. That it pretty much nerfed the power of Sylveon's Hyper Voice. And since this Sylveon is not Choice Specs and instead it's Choice Scarf, it just doesn't boost its Hyper Voice power that much. I honestly overestimated Sylveon in this scenario here, where I kind of thought that he probably would have been able to 3-hit KO me or something, but thankfully not, obviously, because Tapu Fini is just that bulky. And yeah, we're actually going to be able to take out that Sylveon with Tapu Fini, which is pretty crazy. Like, this battle was like, holy cranberries, this battle was hella intense, honestly. It was actually super intense. I honestly didn't think I'd win it, especially with all those turns where my mons were at risk of going down due to rolls. Like the Dragonite going down to Thunderbolt, because that was actually a roll supposedly as well, because he didn't have hidden power ice, so he had to depend on being able to take out my Dragonite with Thunderbolt. And then the freaking Mega Gallade taking that Shadow Ball, there was a 50-50 chance. If I didn't survive that, I would have lost for sure, because nothing else on my team would have been able to take it, especially because he has Shadow Ball for my Jirachi as well, Thunderbolt for Tapu Fini. Muck was weakened, so anything could have taken that out. It would have just been the whole game, honestly. So damn. GG, PlatinumHowler, and sorry for the RNG, dude. In fact, looking at my next opponent for the semifinals, there's a very good chance that we don't actually advance, actually. Like, I think the semifinals is going to be basically our last battle for the IBL D-League, so all we can do now is just brace ourselves for not the worst or anything. Like, we're not going to die if we lose, but I mean, like, yeah, we might not advance more than the semifinals. So for the first time ever, we might actually lose in the semifinals. The reason why I don't feel confident right now is because of the stuff that I mentioned earlier that had me really unsettled. So, and since I battle my opponent tomorrow or even the day after, I'm probably not gonna feel too fit for the battle either way. So I might actually just lose straight up, honestly. But either way, it's all good, because I honestly had a fine season in the IBL D-League anyway. So, I mean, what more did I, like, what more could I possibly want, honestly? But anyway, once again, thank you all for watching, you know, what's it called? The round 1 of the playoffs for the IBL D-League. Jeez, I don't know why the hell that took me so long. Jeez, I can't even talk, bro. Okay, but I'll catch you guys in the next battle. For now, just take it easy and have a good one.